Hey everyone, I've been thinking of games that are published lately, how they turn out to be. There are so few projects that have got me in recent years, both big and small. And honestly, I'm not happy about the trend of recent years. So today, I'll discuss the dawning issue of gaming industry. For I'm Cringelord, and this video is about cancer of gaming industry. Before delving into the main topic, let's go a little back in time. Back there, until year 2010, releasing good quality game was a standard. Sure, sometimes there were games that were not polished well, but they were a minor amount of what was created. Optimization and day one patches were unheard of. There was a certain problem though, and it's system requirements. PC components were not upgraded as fast as system requirements for games. Even game developers mentioned that when releasing games that were technically ahead of modern abilities, like Age of Empire 3. What of now? Releasing and selling incomplete games has become a norm. Day one patches are constant. Testing games before release? Who needs that when you can delegate that to customers and spend nothing? We are earning money here after all. Technical abilities are ahead of time, but games perform bad due to the lack of effort and time spent on testing and optimization. When a game was published, it was released as a complete game that sold at a certain price. And if some extra content was sold, it was sold in the form of different game. Purchasing games was a fair deal. You are offered to get full content of a complete game. You buy it, you get it, no jokes told. Making and selling complete game now? Well, not profitable. So part of the content is intentionally cut out of the game to be sold. Live quality patches? You should buy them too. Huge outlash happened to be when such phenomenon as paid mods was presented, but it was sold to people in a wrap of DLC later. Guess games will be like Lego in future. You'll have to buy models, gameplay, story, voicing and other stuff separately to play the full game. You know, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Since we started talking about payment, microtransactions were very limited in its spreading, mostly used in MMOs, and were a sign of a bad game. That's still a sign of a bad game, but marketing and popularity of mobile gaming, where this model applies in 90% of games, makes wonders making people believe that it's fine. Microtransactions in a game that you have bought? Damn, people would laugh at you back then if you would mention something like this. Pay-to-win system in a single-player game? Sure, some will purchase it. I don't get it. If you need that, why do you care about playing at all? Why not watch someone playing it instead, or just use cheats? Guess I'm too old for that. Experimenting in story, design and mechanics was a must to make your game stand out. Postal was a punk-ass game that caused so much commotion. Have you seen such games now where you can piss in the face of your enemy? Hell, it will be called offensive and cancelled in instant. Publishers were not afraid to try innovative and creative ideas. Due to that, we were able to play such games as Assassin's Creed or Elder Scrolls series. Wokeness. I don't need to say much about it. Games have become an instrument of cultural and political propaganda long ago. It affected quality drastically. Not for all games, of course. The other thing is that games offered you huge single-player campaigns, which could take up to 100 hours. I still remember playing games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Those are quite long games that made me think at some point, when is the goddamn ending? But that is a positive thing, of course. Getting such global story right now? Haven't seen for a very long time. Mostly you're offered 10 hours of story and multiplayer. And multiplayer is the main thing that is sold. Multiplayer is a good thing, kind of basic for a good game, but that is presented like huge advantage. But all those problems are nothing in comparison to real cancer of gaming industry. Early access. Model when you are offered to purchase alpha version of a game. Firstly, it was used by indie developers who struggled to find financing for their ambitious projects. It happened approximately in 2010, when fundraising at Kickstarter became popular. The first game that used this model seems to me is Minecraft. Then it got to Steam and things started to roll. Despite cases of scam, it got popular. Soon, sales of games in the alpha stage skyrocketed, presenting opportunity for small teams to find financing. But tide has turned. Game devs figured out that it doesn't matter what you sell, as long as you sell it. You can release complete junk that barely works and justify it by saying, "It's an early access, what do you expect?" And that was a prelude to a catastrophe. More and more games started to pop out of nowhere as an early access. Part of those were kind of scam projects, where devs imitated activity to work on games until game is sold and advertised for a bit of time. There is an article mentioning statistics about how many games were released after getting early access in 2014. The percentage of what was released was 25%, which is a drastically small amount. I have searched but haven't found any detailed statistics. But there are different articles and Reddit posts mentioning that the release rate was from 25 to 35% in recent years, which is rather peculiar. I mean, the fact that there are almost no statistics published. I find that info trustworthy though, but would add that percentage might include some amount of fake releases. Still, not a pleasant rate at all, which means that a lot of games will stay in alpha state forever. Not a scam, right? But early access went even further. Publishers and game devs noticed that releasing games in a poor technical state is fine. You can start selling early, fix everything later, or maybe don't even fix at all. Because sales are already good. Little by little it becomes a normal thing, and some people even justify it by saying that it's fine. All games are released half ready, they will fix it later. Well, duh. But you are offered to buy it before, and you ask to pay full price. There is a delay in game being playable as it should be, but no delay in getting money from customers. A very just thing. And now there is another trend, selling pre-release access at a much higher price. That is just messed up. And people buy it. Why not artificially delay release for a year and ask people to pay for each day of time reduction? And call it advanced access? Anyway, who am I to advise people how to spend their money, right? The amount of people playing games has grown significantly in the last 15 years. Gaming was comparatively niche back then. It achieved bigger popularity later and brought new generations of gamers who little by little start their gaming path with less and less good quality games. All of that means bigger diversification in experience and intellectual abilities of the audience. People are not equal in that department after all. There is a recent article mentioning the decline in human mental capability. I will leave the links in the description if you would like to read it. So, with an increase of less intelligent gamers, it's getting easier to manipulate consumers. And since gaming got drastically popular, it got attention of other intellectual people, for whom it's another market to earn money. So, gaming started its transformation into a conveyor, when speed of the release prevails quality. The worst thing is that people are not only getting fined with decreasing quality of games that are released, but also ignoring or protecting it. Inability to realize that something they like may have downsides is so widespread, and at the same time big companies spend money on promoting such ideas and damage controlling bad games like Sony or BioWare does. Another huge issue is an early access financial system. I often see that journalists, game sellers and some gamers call that funding. But that is a lie, and early access is nothing else but lootbox gambling. How so, you may ask? Let me explain. When people go to casino, we don't call that funding, even though we kind of can. So there is a difference. When you fund someone, that someone has responsibility and obligations to follow. Do game devs have any of those? No. That way it creates a situation equivalent to opening a loot box. When you're getting an item of different gradation, from common, early access forever, to legendary, game is released. Plus, games are virtual products, and small teams don't have any offices. So you can never assess risks, even if you try. All of that makes it exactly gambling. So, you purchase something, and what you will get will depend on fate. Gambling as it is has become a problem in gaming, but early access also stimulates people doing questionable financial decisions, both directly and indirectly. The last issue is that you pay money to become an alpha tester. Being tester is an actual job. That is a nice scheme that was created by companies. They are getting solid amount of people who will spend hours testing game and who will report bugs. And you can collect game data from those who play. This way you can reduce costs and save some money which you can spend on… oh wait. Which you will save to increase margin. That is surprising that people do not understand that they pay for getting extra work that is presented in the form of entertainment. Well, people don't like to do real life labor for free. How about virtual then? Damn, that sounds good, right?
Finally, workday is over, and I can chill. Life is good.
Early access has become a part of degradation, taking various shapes. Surely it brought some really good games to the table, gave some indie devs opportunity to flourish. But that is nothing in comparison how it negatively influenced gaming industry and continues to do so. Even without that model, indie devs are able to create games and don't sell you alpha version like developers of Hollow Knight or Hotline Miami. I understand that indie devs struggle. But how come that some devs are able to create games without it, but most are not? True answer may not be the most pleasant one. The result of such development is rather tricky too. Devs create products that will be their source of income forever. Will you get something out of it? Of course no. So, it creates a situation when you finance someone's virtual business for free, with no responsibility from other side. When real-life businesses have to take loans and have things to lose. Clever, but not a very honest model, I believe. I doubt early access will disappear, but it needs a huge modification, at least how it's done in financial sphere. Due to early access, market is flooded with scam and half-dead projects. Plus, it changes consumer psychology for the worse, which allowed big companies to use it as well in their marketing and sales strategies. Overall, decreasing games in quality. And people now praise games that are released in a good technical state. Are people getting humble, or is it degradation of games? I will let you answer this one. I thank you for watching, and I would like to know, what do you think about early access? Do you find it a good thing? Do you buy such games? Let me know in the comment section below. I fare you well, and I'll see you in the next video.